I believe it is the biggest boat on Shoal Lake. It's been here for 64 years, and it's the first thing campers see of camp. It's sometimes the only thing parents see of camp when they see the P3 at the dock where their kids get on. It's a programming tool, it's a necessary vehicle or ship to get food and supplies here. Pioneer 3 was used for all those things. But first, let me tell you about my boat. The Pioneer 3 is a passenger vessel that was manufactured by Maffei Steel Boat Works in 1956. The boat was designed and built specifically for Manitoba Pioneer Camp and is 48 feet long with a steel hull. The dimensions and build of the ship were selected for the features of Shoal Lake. The hull was narrowed enough to go through Ash Rapids to pick up campers and supplies in Kenora. Before the Pioneer 3, we had the Pioneer 2, a U.S. Navy World War II beach landing craft. It was used between 1945 and 1956, and while it served the needs of camp, a new larger boat was needed. The Pioneer 3, shown here at her christening, met the need to bring many campers, supplies, and building materials to camp. It is still used today by Pioneer Camp 64 years later. I can't talk about the Pioneer 3 without talking about the other captains. In fact, when I became the executive director, I got this picture in my mind, the camp being represented by the Pioneer 3. I knew at the time that the Pioneer 3 actually had to, if it represented camp, we needed to make a bit of a course adjustment because camp wasn't in the best of places. And the picture that came to mind was that I was trying to turn the Pioneer 3 in a picturesque, figurative kind of way, as we knew we needed to make some changes at camp. But the picture I had was all the captains' hands were on the wheel helping me. All the captains of the Pioneer 3 that had gone before me. One of my top 5 memories of my time at camp involved a night cruise on the Pioneer 3 with sailing camp. We go out for actually almost a midnight cruise, and we went out with the sailing campers and staff, sang some songs, and they do a bunch of other hilarious stuff. And then we started watching the stars up in the sky, and Sarah and I realized we could also see the stars in the water. It was that calm. And we were actually looking down at the constellations from the bow deck of the Pioneer 3, clearly identifying them because there wasn't the smallest ripple. And it really kind of felt like you were above the stars. That's one of my top 5 memories of camp. We were going on a staff outing, a staff kind of party. It was probably to celebrate the end of outdoor ed season. Trevor Jones attached 2 large floating docks behind the Pioneer 3, and we slowly towed those things out, actually quite a ways away from camp. And it was just an amazing celebration, kind of a party time. The last floating dock was the barbecue area. You could get food there, we had a barbecue. Second floating dock was the suntanning area. And then you could be on the Pioneer 3 if you just wanted to hang out and visit or listen to music. So that's how creative we can get with the Pioneer 3. When Jeremy Parrott was Boys Camp Director, I think that was the start of what has now become known as the Boys Camp Challenge. And we actually got, it was a large boys camp. I don't know how many canoes they had in the water, probably more than 40, could have been 50, with staff and campers. And they actually connected all 50 canoes up to the Pioneer 3 at the back, and they got into a tug-of-war with the Pioneer 3, with the Pioneer 3 just in gear and in neutral, which is quite an accomplishment, and apparently that they actually won. They were actually pulling the Pioneer 3 backwards, even though the Pioneer 3 was in gear going forward. Just a little bit. They were paddling like crazy. I remember watching it, but that's a good memory. The challenge to keep the Pioneer 3 on the water gets more and more difficult each and every year. Just making it nearly impossible to think of using the Pioneer 3 long term at camp. Not only the upgrades, but the licensing of the people that we need to drive it. A burden with Transport Canada. I've since discovered that Transport Canada was being lenient on us. They could be asking for far more. The future of the boat is somewhat limited. The future of the boat will come to an end, and maybe sooner than most people would want, certainly sooner than I would want. I would want it to go on for many, many more years, but it won't. We have to start accepting the fact that the Pioneer 3 has a limited future at Manitoba Pioneer Camp.